Hello there. Welcome to Freedom Friday again. Another Friday has rolled round, and great to see everyone here. Um, and today we've got a really a special. We've talked about deep dives. They've been technical deep dives, but we're going to go into like a big deep dive into the person and into ourselves. And Tony's gonna talk to us about freedom and what it means from a whole lot of levels, and he's gonna share different models and different ways of looking at it, so you can start creating a bigger sense of where you are at now and where you want to be, you know, starting from next year or starting from now, but at least in the future. So yeah, thanks a lot, Tony, for joining us again. And yeah, look forward to your sharing.
Yeah, thanks, Gerald. This is a culmination of, over many years, I've been sort of researching many areas of life. I've always been a great believer in the holistic nature of life. And in the more recent times, since I've got more focused on the financial freedom, uh, I've come to realize that th- it's many parts that make up a whole, and just to focus on the financial side or just to focus on the spiritual side is not enough. And there's many we get uh, tend to get a bit splintered and polarized by stuff, and a lot of people have good information on certain aspects of life, but they never fully get ahead because there's other areas of their life that are not integrated. They're not they're not um, being fully melded into a greater whole. So everything has been implemented and integrated. So this is going to be quite a yeah, I'm going to move quite fast. There's going to be a lot of information. It is the purpose of this is to give you an overview. I'm not going to go too much into specifics on this. We can go and we can do deep dive specifics into different areas later. I just wanted to. Uh, Hi Vanessa, how are you? Thank you. I'm looking at sort of whetting your appetite with this body of knowledge that I call it's knowledge to exit the matrix. I sort of I put it tongue in cheek. It's exiting the matrix, but really it's the illusionary matrix. We are in a matrix, an energetic matrix now, as well. But it's just that we're in this artificial construct, a simulation, if you like, and I am presenting a model that uh, I believe potentially could, I say potentially, and it could help us to get free, subject to obviously many aspects of your own journey and all that. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get into it because there's quite a lot to cover. Um, so I'm going to share my screen and just get my stuff up.
Thanks, Vanessa. Nice to see you too here today. Right, I'll just share that.
Now I just
Yeah,
Now I've got to get my um,
you're sharing your Zoom screen, so we're getting some funky things going on. I mean, you're sharing your guest screen. Yeah.
Yep. How do I get out of full?
Just open another tab, I think.
No, well, I've got it minimized down below in my key store, so I need to get back to my key store.
Oh, you're talking about your presentation. Yeah,
Yeah.
hit screen share your key store. What is a key store? Your keynote. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
hit the keynote
But I can't get out of.
icon.
I'm in full screen. I need to get out of this so I can get
Okay,
to it.
minimize this screen and hit your keynote
Yeah, but how do I minimize it? I can't
at the
see how to
top
minimize.
left, just like in normal browser tabs. It's just a normal
Right.
browser
I
tab.
know it's come up now. It's come up.
Okay.
Right. So I have to share it when it's on minimal, and then I
Oh,
do
I
full
see.
screen.
Okay. So if you share that again, right
Right.
there we go.
Right. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So I calling this the Trinities of creation. I love the power of three in creating. When you look at creation, everything's based on three, and the three key things I am presenting here is the financial system, uh, the legal system, and basically our energy and consciousness system, a spiritual system. And when we're creating, there's always us, the creator or the co-creator, I should say. And we're working on something, we're creating something. This is the process. And then there's the outcome. This is the manifestation of what we're creation. So we're co-creators creating creation. And whether we know that we're doing that or not is irrelevant. We are always creating something, whether it is what you don't want. And there's always a process involved, the energy, if you like, and then there's the final outcome. And for me, my three key values when I'm going about my business and life is truth and the consciousness, which ultimately is love, the unconditional love. And that is what makes freedom to me. And we can be financially free. We could be, we think we might be free because we're under some common law aspect, or we might think we're free because we're very spiritual and all of this. But really, we're not. We're not fully free. While we live in this simulation, we're not fully free until we start integrating all the components that make up life. And I'm going to try and do my best to present through my own filter, I might add, what I think that might be. So everything in the financial and material world is interlinked with the legal system. We are all bonded sureties in a bankrupt franchise. In other words, we're all bound. We're bound to an incorporation, which is called a country, which is bankrupt. We are the guarantors of that. It's all about standing and jurisdiction. The only way to be truly free is to access your inner spiritual energy, heart, mind, and apply that to the physical realm. Once we raise our conscious energy, we can automatically become financially and lawfully self-sufficient, thus rising above all dualities and physical illusions and limitations. Freedom is knowing the nature of reality, and I might say your reality, and assisting others to be free by giving and receiving in kind. So that's kind of a little bit of a preamble to what I am presenting. So here gives you a bit more of an overview of the Trinity that I'm focused on today. And we can find many Trinities, both on a bigger level and on a more micro level. But I'm presenting this on the bigger level here, and then I'm going to drill down a bit more to some of the subsets of this. But basically, we have a financial system. This is the financial business system. This is our transacting system. This is how we exchange energy. And this is looking at from the macro point of view, in other words, the big world economy point of view, business ecosystems, financial ecosystems, technology, and how technology is now interweaving itself into financial systems. And then we will look at cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and that sort of thing. So these are key for today, and in many ways for all time. This is what makes up a financial system. And then we have lawful systems. I call them lawful systems, not legal systems, because I like the term lawful, or I actually like the word law spelled Lore, which is more about natural law. But within lawful systems, we could have a social welfare system. We have jurisdiction, which is basically everything in law. Uh, and we have political systems and governance. And so this is all around, yeah, basically rules, regulations, the legal system, penal system, and social welfare, social well-being. And then we have energy and consciousness systems, which is all about our natural laws, the universal laws, the elements, the prime elements of nature, the five prime elements, and nature itself, time, space, and direction, because this is all what we're living in a timeline, and we're occupying space, and we're heading somewhere. We're all going somewhere, and I'm also going to look at a quick journey through the seven chakras, because they are very important in our life expansion. And that's where, basically this is where we interface with the world, and our chakras are our doorways to the energetic world. So I'm going to start off with the financial system, what I call financial fintech systems, meaning financial technology, because this is what we're facing today. There's technology and financial systems are getting interwoven quite intricately. And this is about developing integral mediums of exchange that brings energy and unity for the people. Ultimately, that's what money or currency and transacting is all about. That's what ultimately a monetary system is for. It is simply a medium of exchange, a tool in which to exchange one thing for another in the most easiest and simplest way possible. And today, in today's world, we are now moving into this digital cryptocurrency world. So that's another trinity of my main trinity. These ones in green here are the trinities of what I see, key trinities of the financial system. So there's currency, of which I'm focused on cryptocurrency. There's technology, as I mentioned, and then there's the macroeconomics, the bigger paradigm of what we're living in, the big picture economic systems or ecosystems, which is ultimately what we're building. So within cryptocurrency, there's the DeFi projects and tokenization. This is a key part of crypto that's sort of a little bit more abstract. It's a little bit more below the field of our awareness. This is why we need to focus on them. So there's the decentralization, basically, that's going on. And then another one is pure currency itself. This is the actual medium of exchange. It could be fiat money as well as any currency. And then I'm also looking at NFTs, and NFTs are important because they're getting so big. NFT means non-fungible token, so it means it's non-divisible, and so NFTs are becoming the preferred go-to for the millennials, for the gamers out there, of which there are many hundreds of millions of gamers out there. And it's also developing an ecosystem for artists, musicians, protecting intellectual property as well, which is very important because everyone's getting their IP, their intellectual property, stolen these days. So that's another very important area. Then to go further down DeFi to further explain it, it's 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 really they are platforms to build upon. In other words, to build your business upon. We can build a business upon a decentralized finance platform or a smart contract platform. And then I see these as the businesses of the future. Um, it's just the way the technology is going, the way the adoption is going. I'm not necessarily saying this is the one and only way, this is the way I think it should go. I'm just really looking at the trends and seeing the way it is going and how we can best utilize that for our best benefit. Um, then when we look at currency, we've got we need a global payment currency. The US dollar, whether we know it or not, the US dollar and most fiat currencies around the world are on their last legs. So again, we're going to need a replacement, and there are a few contenders or a few varieties of maybe a gold-backed fiat currency with a cryptocurrency hybrid. But I'm not going to go in that today. But just so that we know, we are going to need a true global currency or currencies going forward, because the US dollar and the New Zealand dollar, the Australian dollar, these all have a shelf life, and the fiat currencies have been murdered basically by money printing. And this is going to create a major, major problem. It is very close on the horizon now. I thought the system would have collapsed by now. It hasn't. And I have seen more information as to why it hasn't. And it's basically they're waiting for get all their ducks in a row. But I think 2022 is definitely the year. Not sure when in next year, but it's sometime soon. And then out of those currencies, obviously we've got the CBDC as stands for central bank digital currency, which is the one that we certainly don't want. And I do not want to get people confused about a CBDC and true decentralized cryptocurrency. They are like chalk and cheese, but they are all based on a digital system, but that's really where the comparison ends. However, a lot of the decentralized finance projects are really dressed up as decentralized, but as I've come to realize, a lot of them are actually very centralized because they're being controlled by the centralized finance bigwigs. Predominantly, the Federal Reserve is controlling a lot of the crypto, and I won't go into that. It's a time for another day where we can really pull that apart. But I see crypto as the future, and we've got to just try and latch onto the best ones. So obviously, the opposite of a CBDC is a true encrypted private currency that's made on a public blockchain, I might say. So there's a bit of got to be very careful with the words. And I don't think there's too many of them to choose from, actually. And even some of the ones that we are investing in now, I don't know about how good they will be long term, but again, that's a discussion for another day. And then we've got these stable coins. The stable coins are a very integral part of crypto, but this is one of the reasons why they are still very centralized in nature, even though they've got a DeFi tag, because the stable coins are being stable coins are being printed out of thin air, just like fiat cash. So that's actually defeating the purpose, because if these stable coins are funding a lot of the cryptocurrency, then it stands to reason that they are very manipulated. And a lot of the people that are producing the stable coins are then buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many others. And then through money that they've basically printed out of thin air, then they push the market up through big buying, and then they collapse the market. And this is why crypto is so volatile, because centralized controllers have got their paw prints all over it. So it doesn't mean the end of crypto as we know it, or it doesn't mean the end of true crypto, but we do have to be super careful. And then with NFTs, we've got, like I said, we've got artists, we've got gaming, we've got augmented reality, virtual reality, which again is, I think, another giant escape clause from life. And I don't agree with it, but it's the way the kids are going and the way a lot of even older people are wanting to go. So this is why I think the nature and our connection to nature is extremely important, and we'll go into that later. And also around NFTs, you have a lot of these meme coins, and meme meaning sort of a symbolic coin that's really community driven for a bit of a joke or a bit tongue in cheek, but really they're not really got a lot of use case or utility. So they're not really going to go anywhere long term, in my view. Then in the technology, we've got this open source technology, open source factory that I call it, that's been developing the coding of the blockchain. So there's a lot of people that are working to perfect this to better and better decentralization and distribution for people. And so the cabal can't control all of that. There's a lot of people creation going on. And so that's one big factor in our favor that's happening. And through that factory, we're getting our crypto wallets, which is effectively our crypto bank account. Exchanges are being developed. The blockchain is obviously being developed in this factory, but many, many projects are being created through this open source sort of way of working. And then within the technology, the key piece of blockchain, the key piece of technology is the blockchain, because that is what is created through the code. The source code is what creates the blockchain, is what creates the crypto, which creates the actual project, which then creates the community. So it's a whole knock-on effect, and the project and that community can only be as prosperous and as vibrant and as energized as which the source code is dictating. So there's many different types of coding. Uh, there's proof of work, there's proof of stake, there's DLT, distributed ledger technology. I think there's a few others, but then within each of those, there's a lot of finer points which identify the project in a more detailed way. So they say the devil's in the detail, and it's definitely Also, the freedom is in the detail as well. There is a lot in that code. Just as we have a code, we are DNA code that has created our body. We can create artificial things that come from code that actually is from nature. It's from numbers. The code is numbers and letters, which ultimately is energy. And so everything comes from nature. And if those numbers, just like our DNA is also a series of letters, which really are numbers, numbers and letters are interchangeable. It's not too far fetched to think that blockchain can be created in a very beneficial way that emulates natural outcomes. Let's just put it that way. And then we have this thing called automated contracts, also known as smart contracts. So this is going to replace a lot of the service industry. Everything will become automated eventually through these contracts. Particularly lawyers, accountants, anyone that's doing a service or doing a contract, sales contracts, all kinds of contracts. So these will be done automatically through blockchain, through the decentralized finance projects, through in cryptocurrencies, and this is how we get paid via passive income. It's they govern the staking side of things, yield farming. The contracts can be, again, very beneficial based on the coding, or they can be very nefarious, like how a CBDC will be created as pure programmable money, can be switched on and off. So, like anything, technology can have a very, very good use, or it could be used for bad. So, it's up to us people to make sure that it's good. This is why we've got to get our awareness up. We have to understand the knowledge. Otherwise, we will not know what we're buying into. We will not know or understand where we're going with our investment. And then on the economic side, this is where we've got the actual currency supply and distribution, which we know now is, fiat money is printed out of thin air. Fiat means by government decree. It's a nice way of saying that they're forcing us to accept their paper money as legal tender, which is obviously a very nefarious. And this is what they call fiscal policy, or nice name for money printing. But then in the crypto world, we can produce tokens which can be also sort of created out of nothing via the code, depending on how it's coded. But it doesn't mean that they are worthless or valueless just because of that. If they are being utilized for good purposes, creating good things for the earth, if they're in limited supply, which creates it stops the inflation, that's a big positive in itself. Not everything is going to be perfect, but what we do is we're moving. We can move to a better version of what we got now, and we can evolve. It's all about evolution. So some people go, oh well, it's just the same as fiat money. It's actually not. There are similarities, but some of the finer differences are very, very powerful and have very big positive influences. And it will continue to develop and evolve as we grow in our awareness, knowledge, and all of that. So we have a chance to be our own bank. With these, the currency can be produced that can come to us without any peer-to-peer. These are peer-to-peer models. We can transact with our currency to another person without any intermediary, without any bank or any financial institution, no one clipping the ticket. much greatly reduced fees because of that, and a major redistribution of money when you consider how much in fees the banks rake from. The fees per day is hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars per day. So that's hundreds of billions of dollars being taken out of circulation. So it's no wonder we can't get ahead, because we're playing with a small deck of cards. They hold all the cards, except maybe we've got a few, four of clubs or something, whereas they hold all the aces and the kings and the queens, literally. And then we have in the macroecon we have tokenization of all goods and services. This is particularly applicable to the new economy that is emerging with crypto. There is going to be a crypto token attached to all goods and services. I talked about automated contracts. Well, there's got to be a token there as well. Again, I'm not going to get into how's that going to look and is it going to be good or bad. It'll be as good as what we make it. And there's many, many moving parts. But the world is going digital, whether we like it or not, because it's already been decided. In fact, it's already been created, and they're just waiting for the time to roll it out. So we just have to catch some of the good stuff and try and ignore the bad. This is going to be a disruptor of everything. Everyone's going to be disrupted. Everything is going to be disrupted. We haven't seen nothing yet as far as the chaos. The big kahuna is coming, and when it does, there's going to be there's going to be a lot of stuff going down. So, but the disruption is also going to significantly disrupt the cabal and the banking themselves. And this is the best opportunity for us to, what I call, exit the matrix. There's no better time than when there are missiles and bombs raining all around your head. That is a great time to make a run for it. So, but we want to do it in a sensible and well thought out way. I'm not into just running around in circles. We're trying to figure out a good, sensible, intelligent, and intuitive way. And this is what I'm endeavoring to present. And then within macroeconomics, it's obviously economics is made by people. I mean, we need people-centric models. Without people, we don't have an economy, we don't have a country, we don't have anything. And this is why individual people with individual rights is so critical right now. We cannot fall into this trap of this virtual signaling and trying to lump us all into one bracket. This is about individual people and human rights here, and we need people-centric models. So obviously that's what I'm focused on, and that's what we are focused on at DeFi Freedom, and that's what we're trying to unearth. And then through that, we can have distributed wealth. People-centric model will have distributed wealth amongst all of us, which is if it's a good smart contract and we're getting our staking and we're earning passive income, because we are the new consumers of whole new projects, we can get early dibs in their distribution. A lot of these models, like we're in, like Hyperfund and Daisy, we're crowd investors, and they're giving us the benefits up front because they're basically buying us they're buying a customer database basically. But it can work for us as well. And then within that, we're going to have, and what we focus on is these cooperatives and shared wealth models. There are a number of them springing up now on the blockchain. I've just come across another one that looks really, really good. And then we've got our Ever Rich model. We've got the Hyperfund model. And, this is where I think economies are going to ultimately go, where we are crowd investing our own projects that we are users and investors of. We can literally use the services which we ourselves have invested in. And then for that, we get profit share, we get dividends, we get shareholding, and that locks us in and that creates the circular economy. Because what we're going for is circular economy. Circulation is what enriches the people. When the cabal is sucking all the money out of the economy, we got nothing left to play with. There's nothing to circulate. We're spent from our energy. Our money's been taxed, and taxed upon taxed upon taxed. So this is an energy issue. It is primarily an energy, this exchange of energy, mediums of exchange of energy. So all I'm focused on is those models that bring that back to the fore. So this is what I see as the foundation. This is what interacts with our physical life. This is what grounds us. This is akin to our physical body. This is the material world. And this is ground zero. This is where it happens on 3D. And we cannot live in the clouds and expect to have everything going tickety-boo while we're living on Earth. It's just not going to happen. So we've got to find a way collectively and individually to perfect better systems. It's as simple as that. So from that, now I'm going to go to, I was going to go to the law side, but I'm going to go to, the energy and spiritual slide, if you'd like to call it that, because within the law side, there's a key piece that I'm presenting about that's very critical. But before I move on, if there's anyone got any questions over what I've just presented, we can take a couple of questions, but I've got a lot more to cover. But if anyone's got a burning question, they can ask it. Otherwise, I'll carry on. Is there any questions, Gerald?
No, not yet. It usually takes about 10, 15 minutes, 15 seconds for the questions to come through.
Right.
So if you want to just chat a little bit or explain something for a few seconds. Yeah.
This aspect that I'm focused on here, we've just done in the trinity of mind, body, and spirit. You could say that I've just covered the body. This is the spirit side, and the lawful side is the mind. It's the mind because the legal system and contract and all of that is very mental. And obviously, when we're living in the physical reality and in the financial realm, that's very much about the physical. And this aspect is akin to our spirit. So within that, this is the way I've divided it up: is the natural laws and elements, time and space, and the human spirit energies. And true sovereignty comes from having integrated our divine natural essence and nature into earth-based systems. This is and earth-based bodies, into businesses, into the physical reality. So we're bringing heaven to earth, if you like. And there's also another great saying: is "as above, so below," which I'm actually going to cover here. So under the natural laws and elements, if there's no questions, I'll just carry on, Gerald.
No, all good. Yeah.
We can have a big Q&A at the end.
Yeah.
So within the natural laws and elements, I've broken it down to the natural principles. Now, the natural principles I'm referring to here are the Hermetic 7 principles, the Hermetic laws, after Hermes, the great Hermes, who was also known as Thoth in an earlier time in his Egyptian life. Then he became Hermes, the winged the winged one. Um, both are completely transcended their physical reality, and he came back to gave us the emerald tablets. Were basically a very auspicious writing on how basically the law of reality and how it all works. And he also brought us these 7 laws. And the first law is the principle, actually. He calls it the principles. The principle of mentalism, which is basically, it's not referring to our mind per se. He's in this instance, what he's referring to is that we are all in a spiritual, energetic field. And he said it's all mind. When he says mind, he means it's the mind of God, basically, to put it, you know, it's a creative intelligence of energy. We live in a field of energy, and everything is interconnected. You could call it a matrix, but it's a pure conscious matrix, not an artificial matrix. And so, by virtue of that, that makes all people connected, and all people are connected to this divine source, whether you know it or not. And so, this is effectively this is the blueprint, this is the template that creates everything. I think that's important to go into, but I'm not going to have time to touch on all of these things in any real depth. But I will touch on them so that you can try and start piecing together the puzzle. That this is what I've been working on for 30 years. So then we have the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence basically says, as above, so below, as within, so without. So basically, whatever is above, up in the heavens, that same substance is found below in the earth and in us. And you could say an above is also our head and our feet. And so there's always an up and a down. And this is also referring to the vertical plane, or the first dimension as well. It is a line, a vertical line. Then we have the principle of vibration. Everything is vibrating, everything is in motion. Nothing is ever at rest. At an energetic level, nothing is at rest. Everything is always in motion, moving. Then we have the law of polarity. The law of polarity, we're seeing this play out big time in the world today because people don't understand the law of polarity, so they're getting polarized. The left and right brain is in war. The left and right politics, left and right, I'm right, you're wrong. We're seeing this play out in the world today. So this is very important for right now. The law of rhythm, everything's in a rhythm, everything's in an ebb and flow. This is what the tides are showing us, seasons are showing us. Everything is in a rhythm, like music as well. And the principle of cause and effect, that is basically the law of karma. What it says is for every cause, there's an equal and opposite effect. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, or there's an equal reaction. So whatever we think, whatever we do, is going to have an effect. For every thought we have, it will create an effect. So you cannot escape the laws. As Stowe says, you cannot escape the law. It's as simple as that. And then we have the law of gender, which has also been messed with big time right now. The whole transhumanism thing, making men women and women men, and making other races. There's only 2 genders. There's male, masculine, and female, and that's it. And then we have, then I'll go into the nature and the 5 elements. So these are critical for the creation of our earth and everything in it, and our whole universe. Is starting from the ground is our earth element. It's the physical reality. And we have our water element, which is obviously the fluid water element. It's related to our emotions, by the way. Air is our mental element. The thoughts live in the air. It's about creativity happens. Air is very much about thought energy, intuition, that sort of thing. And then fire. Fire is related to the sun, but it is also related to our passion and our heart. The ultimate fire burns in your heart, and there's actually literally a spark or a flame that lives in the very center of the heart that was placed by us. This is why our soul is always in the heart. And that's what our lights us up. We have all the words mean things. And then we have the ultimate, most abstract element is ether, which is connected with the law of mentalism or the principle of mentalism. That's the blueprint again. It's the etheric element. It's space. It's consciousness, ultimate God consciousness. And then the other key trinity I see under this bracket is health. And what is health? Well, health is connection to the sun. The sun is our prime giver of life. It is, without the sun, nothing would go, nothing would be here, the world wouldn't exist. So we need the sunlight. We also need exercise. Exercise is akin to our breath. It's an air element parallel. Exercise, breathing, all of that, key. It's absolute fundamental to health. And then food. Obviously, food. We are what we eat. Food is everything. It's our nutrition. It's what provides our minerals and some vitamins. So really, all illness is either lack of minerals, lack of right food, lack of the right vitamins, or it's excess toxins. Basically, we're either deficient in something or we have too much of something that our body does not want. And trying to put more toxins in our body now from, as we know what's going on, it's really horrific. So this is a key area of life. We need to get rid of that which we don't need, and we need to put in the right stuff. And as I've referred to breath up here with exercise, but breath is very, very important to deep breathing, rhythmic breathing. It's a fundamental air element. And then meditation, stillness, silence. We really need some downtime, even if it's a moving meditation, a natural meditation, like walking in nature or sitting in nature. We need just some stillness in our life. And then now I'm going to come to the time and space. So I've broken this down into cycles, quantum fields, and the 7 liberal arts. So what are cycles? We know seasons are cycles. Within the seasons, we have directions as well. Northeast, southwest. Think of when the solar eclipses, when the equinox, the solstices. These are all depicting direction as well as seasons. And then within that, we have the growth cycle. The seed, everything starts from a seed and grows to harvest. And this is also the birth and death cycle, which we are constantly going through. We live, we die, we get reborn, and we have another life. And it goes on until that is another trap. It's another, huge subject but basically death is life and life is death. And when we can face death and while we're alive, then we can truly live. That's the way I see it. Having faced death a number of times, I have never felt so alive afterwards. It was an incredible experience. And then we have the quantum field. Within time and space, like I said, everything is a field of energy. And within what makes us up is the torus field. Everything is in torus fields. If you feel the middle of your head, you'll have an indentation in the crown of your head. And that is where the torus enters. It's like a cyclic energy that is always moving and like a like a tornado effect, but looping around. I think most of you know what a torus is. It's where we get the word tornado, toroidal, tor. If you have a tor, they're like a little island sitting out on the in the water, and yeah. So this is the sort of makeup of the. This is what sort of keeps us in creation. And within the center of that torus, literally light is springing from the dark. The light and dark coexist, but actually it's from the dark that comes the light. It's not the other way around. This is why it's important to look at death, to face your fears is the dark. The darkness in us is the key to our light. So there's no point in running from the dark. We need to stop and face the dark. And we need to face it in the world as well. And this is where I see a lot of people are in fear because they simply have never really experienced a really dark time. Now they are, and they really don't know what's going on because they've had no kind of apprenticeship on that level. So this is where we get the dualities of good and evil. You could say heart and mind, it may be. But ultimately, it's love that binds us. It's ultimately unconditional love that will collapse this duality and reconcile this duality. It all comes down to love is in the center. Love is what's creating the torus. It's created, the whole universe is created on love. And then a key aspect of our field of energy is sound. Sound, music, vibration again, everything's vibrating. So I highly recommend people listen to 432 hertz, 528 hertz, all the hertz frequencies, the pure sounds are perfectly correlated to numerology and the number 9. It's all related to number 9. And I'll touch on it in here. So you can see how everything is interconnected to everything else. There's nothing is separate. Everything is linked. And the 7 liberal arts, also known as the trivium and the quadrivium, I got absolutely blown away when I researched this. This was mind-blowing to me, how incredible. This is what was taught in the ancient mystery schools. This is what Plato, Archimedes, Aristotle, these were what they were teaching in their schools. And now the first 3 are the trivium, meaning meaning 3 again. So they know about the Trinity. And it's basically grammar, rhetoric, and logic. Which, what is that? Well, that is communication. That is the written word. That is the spoken word. It is the way we think. It is understanding. It is knowledge. And it is application of knowledge. This, you could have we could do a whole 2 years of study just on that alone. But this is one of the reasons why I love to write, because writing is a way to express a lot of ideas. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, and it is absolutely true. Because with the pen, we get the pen is related to the word, and from the word we get our contracts, and we get everything is contract, which I'll come to in the last one. It's all about contract. But when we're writing things down, we are committing them to our subconscious. Very powerful. And then once when they mastered the trivium in the ancient days, they would then move on to what they call the advanced school of quadrivium, meaning the 4, and it starts with numbers. So numbers are really a language. They are a language. They are the ultimate language interface with energy. You could the torus is all numerological. Oh, by the way, and letters and words came from the torus, from the shape of energy as well. All the inflections on our grammar comes from the torus and other shapes as well. So they're just simply logical representations of energy. And the numbers are just a little bit more abstract. And every letter has a number. Every letter corresponds to a number. The numbers then correspond from 1 to 10, we have key numbers. 1 is the creation, 1 is the male, 2 is the female, 3 is the creation of the male and female, 4 is the building, the base, 5 is building your house, building your business, building a literal house. 6 is the domestic number of relationships and coming together. 7 is the spiritual number. The universe is based on seven chakras, these 7 liberal arts. The 7 is really the manifestation number. 8 is bringing the manifestation into physical reality, as above, so below. And 9 is completion or almost completion. And then you go to 10, which is 1 and 0. And remember I talked about code and the code of blockchain and code of technology is all 1s and 0s. So you can see how it's a phenomenal thing. When you start getting into this and linking it all up, it'll blow your mind, like it has blown mine. And then when you move from numbers in geometry, so geometry is numbers in space. Geometry is a representation of numbers with the angles in what you say space. So it's from geometry that is a template to our physical reality. So by looking at the geometry of a circle, the circle is the ultimate thing. Everything's contained within the circle because every shape, all the 5 platonic solids go inside the circle. And each platonic solid relates to the 5 elements. The 5 platonic solids relate to the elements. Again, it's a massive subject. I'm just going to have to skip over it, but you're getting the idea. And then from geometry is music. So music is numbers in time. When you're playing music, it is literally in the air. But it's in time. You have rhythms of music. Music uses a language based on time, on speed, rhythm, notes, and chords, and all this. And particular music will be very harmonious and healing, like 432 hertz is heart energy. And then there's other notes that are very discordant, and the Cabal know how to use that. So they changed our base frequency from 432 to 440 hertz, which puts us completely out of alignment. So we have to come back to resonance. And then the ultimate art of studying life is astrology. I'm not just talking personality astrology and doing your star signs. I'm talking about it as a cosmic clock, which literally what we're moving through. As we move through the ages, we move through different houses, different signs are houses. And when Jesus talked about the house and being in the house, and you look at the painting of the Last Supper, he is depicting the astrology. Da Vinci knew, Leonardo da Vinci painted the Last Supper is actually an astrological scientific representation put in a painting as though they're having, a supper, right? But it's all code. It's all coded. And then we have our human spirit energies, what I call basically chakras. And again, this is in life, we are literally going through a journey through the chakras, starting from our base, which is the physical reality. It's our grounding point. And then we have, and these on the left here, these are different auric bodies. Over here on the left, we have our physical body, astral body, mental body, emotional, spiritual, causal. So these are like body, and each of these bodies are related to the chakric wheel that is based in certain positions. Like the base chakra is literally at our very, very base, in a hole between your genitals and your bum. There is a hole in there. You can feel it. That is where the energy is going down into the ground. And then we have the sacral chakra, which is in your genital area, and you can follow this up the spine. This is the true Jacob's ladder. When they talked about Jacob's ladder, this is the ladder. And then the solar plexus obviously is in your solar plexus, but in the Hindu art, they refer the navel. They prefer the navel, but the navel and the solar plexus area is a very critical area. And then we have our heart chakra, which is where our soul is where the seat of the soul is in the heart, and this is our love. And then we have a third eye, which is our wisdom, and then we have our crown chakra, which is really transcendence from the physical reality. So we're kind of starting at ground zero, ground when we're born, and then we're literally kind of moving. We learn creativity, we understand our power, we're learning love. Love is always in the center, and we start opening these chakras as we start to develop. So that's a quick rundown of the chakras. Then I'm coming to law, lawful systems. So true law is a contract between us and the divine. When we forget who we are, we allow outside authorities to install their legal fiction over us. So that's what's happened. It's not our fault. It is not our fault because for a long time this world has been in a lower frequency, and the cabal have been able to control us very, very well. But now that is starting to break up. We're seeing that starting to break up now. I'm not going to go and touch on every single one of these. You can see it. What I really wanted to focus on was this jurisdiction area, because everything is a jurisdiction. We are in their jurisdiction. We're in the cabal's law of the sea jurisdiction. We have been lifted up off the land into their legal fiction, law of the sea, which comes from the very early days when they were colonizing countries. Countries then were incorporated right back there. The East India Trading Company, or whatever it was, and the Dutch Trading Company, they were already onto it then. And this is why in those days they were obviously sailing on the sea to discover new lands. And so they adapted that to our legal system so that we're basically considered lost at sea, because they used to send ships out and people used to go out to find their new land and they didn't come back. So they thought, oh, well, we can use that going forward. So because we haven't found who we are, because we don't know who we are, and because we don't understand the law, and because we don't understand energies, we're considered lost at sea. And this is unbeknownst to us, this is what's happening. So we are in their jurisdiction on the sea, in their, and there's many, many layers. There's so many layers to this. It is like an absolute minefield, right? But I have discovered this lineage called the lineage of David. And he has created this society, and it's called the Proclamation of Peace. Well, that's the new contract, and we can now join up with this society, the lineage of David. This particular guy has traced his genealogy back 124 generations, all the way back to Babylonian days. And because he's done that, and because it's been proven it is an unbroken lineage, he knows exactly who he is, because he's going right back to the very beginning when the true law was being created. So I see this is like we're like the 12 tribes of Israel, and we're the 12th tribe coming back together. Those who are waking up are reuniting, and what we're doing is we're literally we're bringing something that's from the past. We've held it all this time, and now we're releasing the knowledge into the now moment, into the present day. And so this is really going back to the original DNA of the original humans on Earth. This is why history is so important. And we've gone through all these permeations through history, mainly because religion and money has controlled us. The religions were installed to completely bind us up. The Babylonian money magic system was created to bind us up. Everything is about being bound up. And religion means religion again, religion, to rebind again. And this is what's literally happened. So everything is contract. Everything is in their jurisdiction. Everything is commerce, including us. We are literally a chattel. We are goods in their jurisdiction. That's how it is. This is why they're treating us so badly. And this is why, because we haven't woken up to who we are, we don't know how to fight back. And I'll show you the website for Proclamation of Peace. I've done my initial application. It's completely free. And this proclamation goes to the highest court in the land. It's called the Court of Ecclesia. It's in the ecclesiastic court. And the Court of Ecclesia is their creation. This is using their system against them. This is what they created for their protection. Now, because this one guy has traced his lineage back to these days, he has now got the right to create this society, which we can all join for free because of us finding it. It's like we're on a treasure hunt in this world, and then when you find something like this, you know, I've been through all of the common law stuff. Common law is great, but it will only get you so far. I've got common law here. This is what we need in our regular everyday legal system. Should be a common law system. There's a lot of great things in common law. Do no harm. First, do no harm. That's the first law. And we've obviously lost that because no one's adhering to it. No one's not enough of us yet anyway are actually bringing this to earth. And so this is why we have a terribly corrupt penal system. Our jails are really just another part of the incorporated company. It's why domestic violence and crime is out the gate, because we've been treated like animals, really. And these are human rights issues. This is causing racial divide because we've been divided and conquered, basically. And this is why, and privacy is so critical. So as you can see here, I've got governance and politics, which is we've got this globalization problem. They're going for a one world government. Globalization is just the front for one world government, one world money, one world everything. And it's through this, our governance, through our politicians, that they basically, we have the taxation because they're in charge of the taxation, the tax collectors, basically. And I put technology in here because technology can also be used in the blockchain for a new kind of voting. We can vote on the blockchain that's totally secure, and we can have secure payment systems as well, which is cutting into the financial sector. But ultimately, there's this technology around power and energy systems, power energy, and then they are trying to incorporate this 5G into us, which we know is very, it could be very powerful, but again, it's been put at a certain frequency that's going to be very harmful. It's going to be linked to the jab and all of that. It's very nefarious. And then over here, social welfare. I put councils here because councils are very much connected to social welfare because they're governing our rates, so our home ownership, public services. They're trying to, they're obviously in charge of our water and transport, and these are very important for us. So we need to get control over these with the people. We need locals for local decisions. This is what councils in the American Indian times, it's why they had councils. They were real community councils. We've completely gone off track there. And then under that is also education. Education is absolutely critical. And because this is all part of governance and politics, because they are funding the schools and they put their teachers in there, and they're basically in indoctrination centers. And we need to go back to educating real science, nature, real science, not this bullshit fake science we've got now. We need financial management education. We need holistic health and food education. We need schools for higher learning for the kids who are really smart, who a lot of them are. They need special treatment. And we need to educate people on what true history is, because we do not know history. We do not know why we're in this problem now. So, history, retracing our past, is critical. And then, obviously, health is a very important sector, and even more so now. Our health system is so broken. Hospital system is broken. The mental health system is broken. The child services is absolutely broken. This is all by design. This is by design, unfortunately. And we need to get back some spiritual health, mental health, physical health. We need to break up the pharmaceutical cartels. We need to go back to natural and holistic services. And we need to focus on prevention and lifestyle. It is absolutely critical. And then, of course, in here, I missed out here, but, with the taxation, this is another control system, how our taxes a lot of it goes to the Federal Reserve, not to the roads, not to hospitals. It is not going there. And they're working with our Reserve Bank in New Zealand. And then they're creating interest and they're creating the debt, which we have to pay. And then we got all these other taxes, fuel tax, GST, and on it goes. And also, I might add that over here in globalization, environment is such a key area. But who's destroyed the environment? Certainly, yes, it has come from us, but through really the cabal, us destroying the environment and then saying we're responsible. It's because it's caused by climate change. These are big decisions made by NGOs, non-government organizations, who are coming right down into our personal life and telling us what we can and can't do. And this has got to change. Climate change is a thing, but it's solar driven, it's planetary driven, it's off planet driven. It's absolutely, we're going into a cooling period. We're going into a grand solar minimum, which means it's going to be a very cool planet. So they used to call it global warming, then they changed it to climate change. And then we need to get back to local food production, local small business, local communities making decisions. Because where there's food and where there's money, this is where governance comes in. This is why we need to reclaim it as people. Otherwise, we are screwed. So I will just show you, not that, I do have my Proclamation of Peace website. So I'll just have to stop share this. I might just have to stop the share altogether and then start again. Should be in the... Here's the website. And I'll just read this I'll read this bit out. The proclamation of peace and sovereign integrity, hereinafter proclamation, was decreed by His Majesty David Joel. When they say Majesty, this is true royals. This is not fake royals. We are all kings and queens, ultimately, when we reclaim our true sovereignty. So His Majesty David Joel to provide sanctuary protections and immunities for all the members of Davida, which means life, private society, and Davida Private Contract Association. It is an offer of contract, and when one accepts the offer, one immediately becomes a member of the society. The acceptance of a contract requires mutual consideration or an exchange of value. There's the exchange again. The value conveyed by each member through his or her acceptance is one's word and honor to uphold the sanctity of all life, to do all things of which one is capable for the betterment of mankind, and to be at peace with the world. In this way, this society shall be a powerful force for peace and global transformation. Now, I've done my initial stage. This is my, I've done my, I've got my habeas corpus, which if I ever got arrested, which you never know might happen in this day and age, it's giving me protection. I've also got the sacred writ of prohibitio, which I'm still trying to understand what it actually means, but it looks really cool. And you immediately get a mandate of non-consent. And this is binding in the highest law of the land, which is the court of ecclesia. And I suggest everyone go onto this website, proclamationofpeace.org, and create an account, because I found it absolutely mind-blowing. I couldn't stop reading it late one night. I was like, yeah, this is what I've been looking for. Now, I might add to one more thing, that this has been managed by a guy called Kenneth Scott from the Gemstone University and Pantera organization, who I have been following this guy for 5 years solid. It's where I've learned about the law, but he's tied it all together and showed how everything is interlinked. He was critical for me to be able to do this presentation, because he helped me to piece it all together in a way like I had it was just like blew my mind. And then he said there's this contract coming, it's going to be amazing for everyone. We're really looking forward to bringing it out. I've been hearing about it for a couple of years, and finally it's here. And I
Sorry, guys, I forgot to put on my sound again. Tony's coming back on, and please ask your questions now, so that by the time he gets in, then you will he'll be able to answer them, because it takes about 10 or 15 minutes for the questions to come through. Okay, I'll just bring Tony back on. Hi,
Sorry about
Tony.
that. Oh my God. What an anticlimax.
Yeah, yeah. We were all like, we were all on tenterhooks, and then you disappeared. We thought, oh my God, they got him. They got him before he could get to us. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that didn't happen in the middle of my presentation. But yeah, sorry about that. My battery actually died. It was me. It was my fault.
You didn't put it on the mains.
I
Yes.
hadn't had it on the mains, no, and
Yeah.
sorry. So anyway, Kenneth Scott from this company, not company, he's a society. He's created his own society as well, but he is kind of overseeing this Davida society. It's, like I said, it's completely free, but he is an absolute genius who's just linked all the um, all the pieces of the puzzle together. And he's also creating a blockchain based, I believe he's creating a blockchain based um, project, crypto project as well. He's researched religion so right beyond before religion to the time where religions were created out of pure knowledge and spirituality, really. And it's really quite mind blowing how he has literally joined all those dots together. And he talks a lot about the you have when you go to you go to a Masonic lodge, you go to a lot of the government buildings, they have two pillars, always have two pillars at the entrance. They are symbolic. They are there put for a reason. It means the line of the king and the line of the priest. And this is what governs the whole world. And the priest governs all law and all religion. The priest isn't just the priest of the church, he's the priest, if you like, overseeing all law, because ultimately everything is law. Uh, and in the line of the king, he's in charge of all the land. Ultimately, the king is the holder of the land, and the land is then connected to assets. It's the earth aspect. It's money. It's wealth. It's all of that. And so it's really the legal system and the financial system are the key pillars of what we have today. And this has evolved over thousands of years of now we've come to this point where everything's collapsing again, as it's collapsed many times before. Always great empires always collapse, and usually the current chaos or the revolution, if you like, is usually quite short lived, which is good news for us. But then there's long periods of peace in between, and the history always goes to the victors, as they say. The spoils always go to the victors, and this is why they're continually over hundreds and thousands of years been able to control us really well, is because they're in charge of the money and they're in charge of the law, and they're able to affect our mindset. We actually think that we're you know a lot of stupid people around, a lot of people, sheepy like people, which I don't actually like that saying anymore because it's a bit demeaning, because we were all sheep once. But those that are not awake, uh, this was the world was far more draconian in the Middle Ages, and there's periods in our life where we have had far less um, we've got far more issues than what we've got in our world today. So we've got to remember that everything is not as bad as what it appears, and there is a major era we're entering into, and these eras, these astrological changes, are created well beyond the cabal. The cabal just know it's coming, and they're trying to get ahead of the story, if you like. They know solar changes are coming. They know that there's big technological changes coming. So all they're trying to do is herd us up and get us as controlled as they can before we wake up, basically. So that's kind of what's happening. So the
Okay.
website, as I said, the website is proclamationofpeace.org. That is the website.
Okay. And you did explain a bit earlier, but could you say again, is this better than common law or the society?
This is superior to common law because nothing is above the court of ecclesia. But common law principles will be incorporated in this. Common law is still very important. But for jurisdiction and for standing, because everything is jurisdiction and where you stand. And the ultimate standing is in a society like the Davida, where we are then considered standing on the land. That's why the landed gentry. That's why land in the kings and queen times, what we know as the traditional kings and queens time. It was all about who had the landed estates, were the wealthy and the most powerful. And usually in the very early days, they were the very spiritual people who were there to protect the people, and they had the confidence of people. But unfortunately, that's all gone as we fell, if you like, fell into kind of ignorance. They just used the law against us to control us, but that's all changing now. So I didn't see. I guess all the questions have gone since it flicked off.
No.
Is
We
there
don't
any
really.
other?
There are no other questions really. Just
Okay.
people saying thank you. Could listen all day, says Anne. Someone put some very cryptic comments.
Yeah.
If you
Bound to
understand,
be.
and more cryptic comments. Yep, really interesting. Vanessa's on the site. And this is fascinating. Oh, it says Rama, the true kings and queens are returning. Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome, Rama. I look forward to meeting you too.
Yeah.
This is so much to unpack. As I said, this is just an overview, and it might, for a lot of people, it might be, oh my God, how the heck I'm still trying to catch up to what he was said before, and there's a lot of them. There's a massive download I've just given you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
But I want
watch the
people to
replay.
understand that the big
Yeah.
picture is so important, and when we understand
Yeah.
the big picture, then we can navigate. We've got a map, and what I'm trying to do is develop a map, so then we can look at the areas where we need to work, and we can go to work and start actualizing our life. But what I realize is nothing truly good happens unless we embody it. We have to actually embody what we know and what we learn. We can't just spout it off, like, oh yeah, throwaway lines and, oh yeah, I know that because I read it in a book and stuff. We have to start actually living and implementing and applying and embodying these truths literally moment to moment, if we can. So, the crypto side, the financial, this is only one small piece of the big picture. But without it, it's going to be very hard to bring the whole picture in. Same with the legal system. It's only a part of it. But if that's not fully functioning and we're not got true jurisdiction, we're not going to be free. And the same with our spiritual stuff. I see so many people, oh yeah, that's spiritual stuff, I don't need it, you guys are all floating on clouds, but that's missing the whole point. We are a spiritual being having a human experience. So we need to just integrate it and understand what the chakras are, because that's really the ultimate journey to true spiritual awakening. But we've got to do it with our feet on the ground. Otherwise, it's going to be no earthly good to anyone.
Yeah. Oh, we've lost your sound, Tony. There we go. You're back again.
Might be the internet. Always at this time of the day.
Yeah.
I noticed
But it looks like okay. So this is what you've shared with us is a bit of a harbinger of what we could do in 2022, is to have a look at those different aspects and work on them, amongst ourselves, well, amongst as a group.
Yeah, absolutely. We could delve in. I mean, we could do a workshop on proclamation of peace. We could do a workshop. We could Ken Scott. Yeah, he actually spoke to Calvin Elp from Counterspin, and I thought it was really good that he did a couple of episodes. So if people want to hear the interview with Calvin Elp on Counterspin Media on, I think it's Rumble, not BitChute. I highly, highly recommend it. It is really, really good, and Ken is very good at explaining it. He outlines it on the legal side very well, and really worth delving into. But it is a massive subject, and so we've just got to start somewhere, and just I do really think the spiritual side is very underrated, but I think that, like I say, you're only as good as your weakest link. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And wherever that link is weak, then you will never be able to grow until that link is strengthened. And then it's the same with consciousness. You cannot think beyond your level of consciousness. Consciousness is the sum total of your thoughts, feelings, actions, intuitions, intentions, right? So if they are very low resonance and vibration, that's what you're going to get in life. That's what I've figured out myself. That's what all the troubles that I've had and all the issues and all of the ups and downs. Every time I came back, well, it's me. It's me that is. I need to change me, and it comes from inside out. Kelvin, it's Kalvyn, and it's ALP, ALP.
Yeah.
So having come from the New Age spiritual movement, I mean, I had a spiritual shop for 11, 12 years. And I came in very green and a complete newbie. I had some incredible experiences in Egypt and traveling around the world. I had an incredible experience where I was almost having an awakening experience just about every day at one stage. And that led me into the store, but it was another trap in a way. I just got stuck in the New Age sort of stuff, and it was incredible, because out of that I got the basis of the knowledge of what I'm speaking today. But just then I really didn't have any idea what it really meant. But the stuff that I didn't need has fallen away, and the stuff that I'm quoting now is stuff that I was learning way back then, but I had no idea how it was to be used or applied. Now I say I've just got a tiny bit better view, but it's not through anything that I've done, really. It's not because I'm extra intelligent or anything. I just spent hours researching, and I've persevered, and I just have had a thirst for acquiring knowledge and putting it into practice. And through my business, that's why I use my business as a sort of a testing ground for my ideas. And so I was quite good at manifesting stuff, but I was also very good at dissolving stuff as well and losing stuff. But but I'm not. I've just simply done a few hard yards and spent a lot of time researching. That's all I've done.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. There's so much to get through, and like Tony says, just take it, just absorb it. Don't work too hard intellectually. Allow it to come into you, and mainly integrate it, and do a lot of practical stuff, do a lot of stuff going into nature, meditation, exercise, and all those practical things help you to integrate the knowledge, the sound that you hear from Tony and me sometimes, but that sound then integrates through the physical movement and through the practical applications that you do. So then it becomes embodied, as Tony was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, guys? Do you think you've had a lot? We've been through this journey like for 2.5 months, I think. When did we start? Do you think you've had a lot? You've had a lot to absorb, and maybe we thought perhaps it might be good to have a break, and over this after next week. So maybe we can have a, what do you think, Tony? Maybe we have a last Freedom Friday next week, and then we have a bit of a break just to allow people to, and maybe next week we'll give some practices. Maybe we can share some practices that you can do over the break time to allow yourself to integrate all that we've talked about, and also to start thinking about how you want to manifest 2022. Yeah, how do you want to manifest your wealth and your sovereignty and your relationships and yeah, your whole world really. So I thought that would be quite a nice idea. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think it would be good to have a break. It has been a pretty intense year, particularly the last few months. Um, we'll definitely give you some stuff to go on and research. I am finding out some quite a little bit disturbing stuff about the crypto world. It's not all. It's certainly a lot of fishhooks in there. We
Mm,
have to really be very, very careful with the stable coins. Don't hold any of your money in a stable coin. And we can go into that in another session, the traps and the connection with Tether, Bitcoin, Epstein, believe it or not, that the convicted, the Epstein and the Ghislaine Maxwell trial that's going on now, that is hugely connected to Tether and Bitcoin. So, Tether is really just another printing machine for the Fed, and that has been quite, but I always I never felt right about Tether, and so we have to watch that. We have to don't hold any money in Bitcoin. I really think Bitcoin, and I think even Ethereum as well, is not safe. I mean, this is just my opinion. But when we go to a break, just focus on those fundamental cryptos that we told you to buy in the ISO 20022. I'm even more confident in those now after what I've seen about Tether, because even I think a lot of our DeFi projects could actually not survive what's coming.
mm,
And I don't like to say that to send you off in a tailspin. But we are dealing with, the cabal have got their fingerprints all over a lot of them, and they are playing for keeps. They are not messing around here. We have got to be really on our game. Um, also, I've got some really cool things lined up already for the new year. Some super cool project, and also, one of our members is going to do a presentation with another project that we were looking at earlier. So that I think you'll be really excited about blockchain-based phones. So we've got some cool things to kick off 2022 with.
mm.
But yeah, we'll compile a bit of a bit of homework for you to maybe do if you like. Shall we do a training? Are we going to do a training on Monday and Wednesday as well, Gerald?
Yeah, yeah. I, I haven't actually finalized it, but if you've got some burning things you want to go through, one for the premium members and then two for the other members, yeah, feel free to pop them in here right now while I talk to Vanessa's question about I was going to get a cold wallet. Yes, I still haven't. Well, don't worry, a lot of people haven't. You're not the only one. When I opened the Global Unit Pay account, would that suffice putting everything there? Well, suffice. Well, it's a lot of crypto experts consider the cold wallet probably the safest place to put your crypto, mainly because it's offline. And if the whole blockchain and internet goes down, of course, it's got to come back up again. I think people are working on separating the blockchains from the internet, but I don't think we're there yet. But yes, a cold wallet is probably the safest place to put your crypto over this period. Is XRP and XLM okay? Well, Tony's been doing his research, and he very much likes XRP and XLM, don't you, Tony?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they are our front runners for. See, they can't just bring out a CBDC on its own. They're going to need XLM and XRP to facilitate. So I still see them as my number one, number two. Like I was saying, I'm double down on that now after what I've learned the last week. So I'm not selling my XRP. I'm not selling my XLM. I'm not selling my Hedera hashgraph either, or XDC, and there's a couple of others. But this is, yeah, there are going to be losses, but as long as we come out overall better than what we went in, I think then we're doing good. We can't expect 100% track record, because if we just stay where we are in the banks, we're gonna lose out every way, I believe. So we have to do something, and I'm just giving what I believe is my best advice without being a financial advisor. But it's just, what other people do, they must do their own due diligence.
Yeah.
If you just took our word for it and then it didn't work, and then you came back to us and blamed us, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept that.
Yeah.
Won't.
Yes. What we're talking about here is sovereignty. So sovereignty is the word. Sovereignty means, taking control yourself of your finances, of everything around you. Well, around that you can control, that's within your jurisdiction. And yes, so we can only advise, give you some tips. We can show you how to research. We can show you where to go to do your due diligence. But that's all we are here for. We're not here to to control you, or to give you financial advice, or to get you dependent on us. So Ray was asking, what's a cold wallet? And so a cold wallet is one that's not. I suppose a hot wallet is one that's connected to the internet. Cold wallet is one that's not connected to the internet. So a cold wallet usually can be a hard wallet. So there's a confusion there. A hard wallet is a stick, like a USB stick, and you've got a number on the market. You have a look at them. Trezor, Trezor, Ledger, so the Ledger wallet, Ledger, and within the Hyperfund ecosystem, there's one called Hypermate, and it looks like a really interesting one, really high security. So have a look at that. Yeah, so those hard wallets are disconnected. You connect it to your computer for a few minutes to download your crypto into your hard wallet, and then you disconnect it, and you store it in a safe. And other forms of cold wallets are, you could use a phone, disused phone, for instance, that you don't connect to the internet, and using, say, Hyperpay wallet, you can actually connect it to your Hyperpay wallet, and it will set up a little vault on your phone, and you transfer your crypto to that, and then you disconnect it. And as long as you don't connect your phone, it stays a cold wallet. Finally, the most basic one is to do a paper wallet. But yeah, it's kind of not something. Um, it's not, well, yeah, it's not totally recommended because things can go wrong with paper wallets. But it just goes to show that there is that possibility as well. Yeah. So yeah, we will give you more information on how to research, and we'll try and share as much as we can over the next year to get you really up and running, independent. We want to create a team of leaders, right? A team of people who can go and teach other people, and yeah. So definitely we'll do that.
We can start sharing more stuff on the email too, maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
on places to go,
Yes.
YouTube channels, articles that we find particularly interesting. We can fire off. So don't forget to check your emails. I
Yes.
notice a lot of people aren't engaging, and if you're a paid member, it's best to put your money to work by using our advice. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're not getting the best out of it. So check your emails and attend the lectures and try and protect your investment by understanding more about what you're holding and what you've bought.
Yes. Yes.
And the more that you engage with it, the more you're going to get more out of it, because the universe loves to reflect back what you are actually doing. Where your attention goes, energy flows.
Yes. Yeah, and we have been quite busy over the last few months. So, the roadmap is some of it is still a little bit behind. We've done a whole lot of webinars and stuff, and yeah, we didn't expect to talk about so many things, but there's so many things on the roadmap that we still want to share with you. So perhaps over the break, we Tony and I can kind of just just clear our heads and map out the first part of next year so that we can give you some good stuff to kind of get your teeth into. Yeah.
Yeah,
And well done, Davina, for proclaiming that you totally take full responsibility. We
I love it.
that is the
Thank
first step for everyone, is to take full responsibility for where their life is, how it's got here, and what they're going to do with it next. And Karen Rose says, if anyone can translate that.
No, I've no idea what VOH means. I know it means for your information, but
Yeah, yeah,
sorry, I don't speak that code.
yeah. Yeah, thank you, Rama, and thank you for hanging out on our webinars. It's really good to have you here, and look forward to catching up. And yeah, maybe we might have some plans for next year to kind of ease the load and spread it around a bit. So yeah, anything else, Tony, before we
No,
wrap up?
I just want to say thanks to everyone for coming on the journey, and thank you, Julie and Davina and Vanessa as well. You ladies have been so awesome in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
support, and you're turning up and you're showing up. I love that. And also to Alex, my friend Alex in the UK. It must be very early morning there.
yeah,
I love that commitment and the willingness to roll your sleeves up. It's fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
To you,
and
Maggie, Joanne, yes, oh, great. You're all so wonderful people and friends, and I just feel like we're just, this is just like a
well,
nice chat among friends, right?
exactly. And thank you, Alex, for actually making the effort. Do you realize that for Alex, I think we're 12 hours. Alex is in the UK, right? And so for Alex, it's 4 in the morning when he gets onto the show. So you probably missed it the first hour, but yeah, I think it's 12 hours, isn't it? So
13,
yeah,
I think now.
is it?
We
Oh
could be
right.
still
Oh
at
gosh.
13.
Well, they keep changing it around. I wish they didn't. Thanks, team. Love it. Have a good night, all. Yes, thank you, Maggie, and thanks, Alex, and thanks, Joe. And yeah, so we'll see you on Monday, next Wednesday, or next Friday. 4:49 here. Okay. Yep. Yep. That's right. It's 5:50 here. Yes, you're right. So it is 13 hours.
Yeah,
Gee.
good on you, mate. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks for that.
Well, have a
Okay.
great weekend, everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will come up with something on Monday. If you want to come along, we can have a bit of a free for all. We can maybe look at Daisy. We look at Hyperfund. Hyperfund have changed their website. Some
Yeah,
people
that's right.
a
Yeah.
few issues. Daisy claiming is still an ongoing issue for some of you. So if you've got Daisy tokens, reach out. I'm more than happy to take the time to at least get them safe for you. Don't just leave it because you know it's not going to help. You've got to swap them into the lift token, and unfortunately, we weren't expecting to have to go through that. But this is the thing with crypto: when you're dealing with money in your own responsibility, we're not handing our money over to someone else. There is a bit more work to do, but the rewards and the upside is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
no worries. Yeah, we will do an update then on the projects
Yeah.
because I know not everyone can make the ones that we've already done. Um,
Yeah.
though a lot of the stuff is archived, though, isn't it, Jill? You
Yes.
can go
Yes.
back and
We're
watch
building
what
the
we've done.
archive. Some of the old ones are have fallen off the archive. That's because I've updated the page, and the old ones are not connected. But over the next few weeks, I'll put everything back on, so you'll be able to access it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if anyone is still is having trouble or they,
Well, okay. Well, let's have a look at that on Monday and Wednesday. We'll go through your questions and make sure everyone
yeah,
is up to speed.
yeah, we want
Cool.
every one of you to make sure that you're safe and home, home and hosed and there's no point in leaving things unaddressed or
Yeah.
loose ends because they can come back to bite you. As I've learned myself, when I haven't attended to some of the crypto tasks that, oh, I'll do that later, and then I ended up I can't get them, or they got frozen out, or they disappeared because I hadn't,
Done the right
upgraded.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't upgraded my wallet, and so I lost a few tokens.
Oh boy.
So we don't want you to go through that. It's not necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, see you. Have a good weekend and see you next week. Thanks.